A massive shout out to the Genin tier member of this channel. Thank you Aliyah Ra, your support means a lot. If you would like your name mentioned in every video, as well as receiving special perks and soon having early access to new series, consider becoming a member of this channel by hitting that join button. There's a rumor going around. If you like this video and subscribe, you will be reborn in the world of Skyrim. If you become a member, you will be the next dragon born. Hi guys, this is the final part of What If Naruto Mastered Every Element? I hope you enjoy. Last time on Naruto The Elemental Fox, Uchiha Sasuke has fled the village of Konohagakure in order to gain the power to control the curse sequel of heaven placed on his neck. When Tsunade tells this news to Naruto, Naruto becomes furious. Then Naruto, Rock Lee, Nara Shikamaru, Inuzuka Kiba, Hyuga Neji and Akamichi Choji set off to get Sasuke. Naruto promises to Sakura that he would bring Sasuke back, but not without injury. Along the way the group meets the challenges of the traps ahead, but manages to bypass them safely. They are then captured by Jirobo, but manage to break free with Choji willing to stay behind. Neji then willingly stays behind to fight off Kitamaro. The two manage to win, but not without being heavily injured. Choji and Neji meet up with each other and then move up to catch up with the others. The next day the remainder of the group formulate a plan which succeeds in getting back Sasuke, but then a new foe arrives, Kimimaro, a former member of the Sound Four. Shikamaru manages to hold off to Yuya and Kiba with Saken and Ukin. Sasuke awakens from his casket and heads off in the direction of Odogakure with Naruto following behind. Lee is then left alone to face this new foe. Later on the Kana team seems to have assured victory, but then the Sound Nin release the second state of their curse marks. When it seems all hope is lost, Gaara and his siblings arrive to save them and kill their respective opponents. Neji and Choji meet up with the others and then find Naruto and Sasuke engaged in serious conversation. Now that Naruto has caught up with his friend, they fight a short scuffle, but after that Sasuke begins to remember the days when the Uchiha massacre started. Flashback: a young 8-year-old Sasuke watched from behind a tree as his Aniki practiced his kunai accuracy training. Itachi stood behind a large boulder, kunai at the ready. The wind blew signaling for Itachi to start. Itachi jumped up, his eyes closed and then fire off 2 kunai from each hand, then he removed some more from his pockets and threw them, making them ricochet of the others. Finally Itachi does a few flips and twists, throwing some more before landing gracefully on his feet, opening his eyes to reveal the mature Sharingan of the 13-year-old Chunin. Sasuke gasped in awe and saw that all the kunai had hit every single bullseye of the wooden targets behind the rock. "Sugoi, Aniki, you hit all the targets in the blind spot behind that rock," Sasuke exclaimed. Itachi smiled as he looked at his Odoto exaggerate about his skills. "Aniki, can you help with my shuriken training now?" Sasuke asked using the kawaii no jutsu. Itachi was a master at ignoring the technique, so he just smiled and motioned for Sasuke to come. Sasuke smiled and ran up to Itachi and was met with a jab to the forehead. "Gomen nasai Sasuke, demo maybe next time," Itachi said with a sad smile. Sasuke huffed angrily before taking out his shuriken. Sasuke then jumped up. Itachi's eyes widened. "No Sasuke, you'll hurt yourself," Itachi cried, but it was too late as the training ground was full of the painful cry of Sasuke breaking his ankle. Streets of Konoha. Sasuke was riding piggyback as Itachi carried him through the streets of Konoha. Sasuke chuckled. Itachi looked back. "Don't think you're getting a free ride, I could drop off right here and make you walk home," Itachi joked. Sasuke shook his head saying that wasn't why. "It's just that I'll be going to attend Ninja Academy tomorrow, and I'm really excited," Sasuke said with a smile. Sasuke then noticed the police station where his father worked. He then looked a bit puzzled and cocked his to the side when he saw the Uchiha crest on the police force's own. "Itachi ni, why is our clan symbol on the crest of the police force?" Sasuke asked. Itachi stopped and looked up at the crest. "Well, you see Sasuke, during the time of the Shadaime Hokage, the Uchihas and the Senju's Shadaime's clan had formed an alliance and formed what is Konoha today, but the Uchihas found that they didn't have any form of responsibility for the village and began to become angered. The Shadaime then gave them the job of solving shinobi crime and capturing those made those crimes, so it could be said that our clan founded the police force, and that is why the Uchiha crest is rested proudly on the crest of the police force," Itachi explained. Sasuke was awestruck. "When I grow up I'm going to join the police force so I can be great just like you and father," Sasuke said with joy. Itachi smiled at his little brother's antics and then walked back to the Uchiha compound. At the Uchiha compound, Uchiha Makoto, Sasuke and Itachi's mother, sat with Sasuke and helped to heal his injured ankle. "Now don't put a lot of pressure on it, okay?" Makoto said and then left. Sasuke nodded and then left. He got up and heard from Itachi that Uchiha Fugaku, Sasuke and Itachi's father, also leader of the Uchiha clan, was asking for them. Itachi and Sasuke sat on the floor before their father. "Itachi, I'm here to talk to you about the mission you will be performing tomorrow. Of this, a successful entrance into the Anbu Black Ops organization will be assured," Fugaku said. Sasuke thought it was time for him to speak. Father, I just want you to know that my ninja academy," Sasuke began, but was interrupted by his father. "Since this mission is important to the clan, I will also be attending it," Fugaku said. "No," Itachi said. Fugaku's and Sasuke's eyes widened. "Why not?" Fugaku asked angrily. "Because I will be going to see Sasuke's academy entrance ceremony tomorrow," Itachi said. Fugaku sighed. "No, I'll go, you have that mission to do," Fugaku said and then got up and left. Sasuke then looked at his father before he and Itachi got up to leave as well. The next day, Ninja Academy. "So I would like to welcome all our aspiring students and hope they become the greatest shinobi of their generation," Sarutobi said as he finished his speech. The audience applauded and then went to meet the teachers. Sasuke looked at his father, who had a disappointed look on his face. Then Sasuke and his father walked up to the instructor. "Ah, Fugaku-san, long time no see, looks like I'll be teaching one of you again," he said. He then looked at Sasuke. "Ah, you remind me of Itachi, I expect great things from you, Sasuke," the teacher said. Sasuke nodded. "You honor us by teaching both sons," Fugaku said. The instructor waved his hand. "No, not all. Itachi was one of the most gifted children I ever taught, we barely had to teach him anything," the instructor said. The Uchihas then left to go back to their compound. Uchiha compound. It was night time and Sasuke couldn't sleep, so he got up to take a walk. Then as he was walking around the compound, he heard voices coming from inside his father's chambers. He then opened the door quietly, and only just enough for him to see. He saw his mother, father and Itachi in there. "Ah, that's my boy, entering the Anbu Black Ops at such a young age," Fugaku said with a smile, but then became serious. "Itachi, you must remember that the mission you will be doing in a few days is vital to the clan. You are the pipeline between the clan and the village's nerve center." Itachi nodded before looking at the door through the corner of his eye. "Go back to bed, Sasuke," Itachi said. Fugaku's and Makoto's eyes widened and then looked towards the door. "Sasuke, what are you doing up? Go back to bed," Fugaku said. "Listen to your Otu-san, Sasuke," Makoto said. Sasuke nodded. "Yes, mother, father," he said and then walked away. "Mateo Sasuke," Itachi called as he walked out. Sasuke turned and walked back to Itachi, who motioned for him to sit down with him. "You envy me, don't you, Sasuke?" Itachi asked. Sasuke looked up surprised at Itachi's question. "Don't deny it, Ototo, I can see it your eyes." Sasuke looked up at the shining moon and nodded. Itachi sighed. "Well, Sasuke, it's the job of Anakus to be the one who is better than the younger one. I'm always going to be the wall you have to scale in order for you to become better," Itachi said, smiling. Sasuke looked back at Itachi and smiled too. Sasuke yawned before getting up to go to bed. Itachi watched Sasuke walk off before his face became serious and walked off. 1 year later, Sasuke's first of academy training finished. "Okay people, now that you all have finished your first year here at Ninja Academy, I will now give to you your report cards," the instructor said as he passed out the cards. Sasuke eagerly waited for his and then quickly looked through it and a wide grin spread across his face. He had placed first in all his classes. When the school day finished, he hurriedly went home to show his father. Uchiha compound. Sasuke sat nervously as his father looked through his report card. Fugaku looked up at Sasuke before continuing his look at the card. He then handed the card back to Sasuke. "Good job, keep this up and you'll be amazing just like your Aniki," Fugaku said and then left the room. Sasuke remained there for a while. "That's my boy, is what I wanted to hear you say," Sasuke thought with a somber look before he got up and left to go eat dinner. Later, after dinner, Sasuke and Makoto sat alone at the table as Itachi and Fugaku left on missions. "Sasuke, why the long face?" Makoto asked her son. Sasuke sighed. "It's just that, I want to know why Otu-san only focuses so much on Itachi, he never has any time for me, Sasuke complained. Makoto looked down at her youngest son. It's just that Itachi's older. Sasuke also your Otout-san is head of the clan, so he has to uphold certain responsibilities and has to focus more in Itachi who's in the Anbu, Makoto explained. Sasuke sighed again. His mother wasn't helping. Besides, when he's with me he only talks about you, Makoto said with a smile. Sasuke looked up at his mother and then smiled. The next day it was a beautiful morning and everyone was doing their usual routine. Sasuke was inside watching television. It was a Pokemon episode. Pikachu had been kidnapped by Team Rocket, again, and were floating from a cliff. Ash then jumped 50 featuring off the ground and a length of over 20 featuring. How does a normal person like Ash jump so far and high when he's not a ninja? Sasuke asked himself as he continued watching Team Rocket blast off again. Then there was a knock at the door. Sasuke was about to answer it when Itachi walked in. I'll get it, he said. Sasuke had turned off the TV to watch who Itachi was talking to. Ohio, Uchiha Tekka, Inabi and Yashira, he greeted his fellow clansmen. Why are you here? He asked. Tekka pulled a note out of his pocket. You and Shisui were the only ones who didn't show up at the meeting yesterday. This is a note saying Shisui committed suicide by drowning himself in the Nakano River, Tekka said, giving it to Itachi. He was your best friend, you two were like brothers, Inabi said. Yes, it was heartbreaking to hear about his death, Itachi said with a sad look. Sasuke's eyes widened. Uchiha Shisui was dead. Itachi then read the note. I tired of this life, there is no life for me or Uchiha while I'm here, goodbye, he read. Shisui was the best ever at teleportation and always willing to do missions for the sake of the clan. It's not possible for him to just throw away his life like this, Yashira said. Well, you can't judge people by appearances, Itachi said, then his eyes widened. What are you assuming? He asked, glaring at the three Uchiha. Itachi, it is our job as the police to stop shinobi crime in the village of Konoha, Inabi said. The three then turned to leave. Don't destroy the note, if you do we'll know, Tekka said. Why don't you just say it, Itachi said. Tekka, Inabi and Yashira paused and then turned, their Sharingan activated. You think I did this? He growled, his Sharingan spinning wildly. In face we do, Tekka said. Sasuke watched in horror as Itachi and the others fought and Itachi was winning. Wham, bam, pow, smash, crunch. Itachi then stood over the defeated Uchiha. Like I said, don't judge people by appearances, Itachi growled. Itachi, stop this insolence at once, Fugaku said, appearing to the scene. Itachi looked at his father and glared. You people are fools, only focusing on the clan, that is when you lose sight of what is truly important, Itachi said and took out a kunai. My abilities are repressed by this pathetic clan, Itachi added as he threw it into the wall, right in the center of a painting of an Uchiha fan. Itachi, Sasuke whispered. Itachi looked at his brother's face, it was full sadness and fear. Itachi's fierce look vanished and then he bowed down. Gomen, Uchiha-sama, please forgive me for irresponsible behavior, Itachi said. Fugaku looked at his son and saw the bags under his eyes. It seems he's been tired out by the Anbu mission load, he said. Fugaku-sama, demo, Tekka started, but remained silent when he saw Fugaku raise his hand. I'll handle my sum here, you three can go. Tekka and Yashira helped up Inabi and looked down at Itachi. Itachi, when the four Uchiha's backs were turned, resumed his fierce glare at their backs, then his Sharingan tomos began to join together forming a shuriken-like shape. Sasuke gasped at this Sharingan's fearsome form and then went back inside to lie down and think about the events that had happened before him. The next day it was night time and Sasuke was returning home from the academy. He looked around and then he saw something standing perched on the electrical pole that looked vaguely like a human. Sasuke blinked, not sure of what he saw, but when he did the thing vanished. Sasuke shrugged and continued walking, but then he tripped over something. He got up and saw it was the dead bodies of his aunt and uncle. Sasuke gasped and looked around. He saw the numerous dead bodies of all the Uchiha clan members littering the streets of the compound. He ran to his part of the compound and walked into his house, but when he came to parents' room he felt a large amount of bloodlust and killer intent. He steeled his will and opened the door slowly. He gasped and his eyes went wide. His mother's neck had been slit, the blood spilling out of her trachea, and his father's corpse looked a bit bruised, meaning he put up a fight, but he lost seeing as how his body was covered with huge numbers of lacerations and his stomach was cut open showing the intestines falling out. Sasuke tried not to vomit, but he did, spilling the contents of his stomach on the floor and gasped for breath. Then he looked up and saw movement in the shadows. The thing moved into the moonlight revealing Itachi. "Itachi ni-san, what happened? Who would do such a thing?" he asked frantically, then noticed the blood dripping from his Anaki's sword. Sasuke's eyes widened and looked at his brother like he didn't know the older Uchiha anymore. Sasuke rose up from his fetal state on the floor. "This is all probably one huge nightmare and I'll wake up soon," Sasuke told himself, but felt pain when a shuriken was thrown, courtesy of Itachi. Sasuke looked at his cheek as the blood dripped across his face, smelling the metallic scent of it. Sasuke then grew angry and foolishly charged the older Uchiha and was quickly batted to the floor. Sasuke grew very scared as his Aniki released a very large amount of killer intent and ran outside. He ran and ran and ran. "I don't want to die, I don't want to die," Sasuke said with tears on his eyes. Itachi then shushined in front of him and then Sasuke stared into the eyes of Itachi's Sharingan, the Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke then looked around. The sky was red, the moon was black and then he saw his clan members being slaughtered by Itachi's blade. "This is what happened to them Ototo," Itachi said as he released Sasuke from the Tsukuyomi Genjutsu. Sasuke fell to the ground and looked back at his brother. "Listen to me Sasuke, these eyes I Avenue are known as the Mangekyo Sharingan, the highest level of ocular vision an Uchiha can obtain, and the only way to do is," Itachi took a pause. Sasuke listened with tears in his eyes. "To kill your best friend," Itachi finished. Sasuke's eyes widened. "So why you killed Shisui?" Sasuke asked. Itachi nodded. "Then why didn't you kill me and why did you kill everyone in the clan?" Sasuke asked. "I killed the clan, to test my abilities with my new eyes and I didn't kill you because you are not worth killing. So if you want to defeat me, foster your hatred for me, despise me and then when you have eyes like mine, then you can fight me," Itachi said and then a raven flew in front of Sasuke and Itachi was gone. End flashback. During the flashback, Shikamaru, Gaara and the others steadily walked forward to get a closer look standing at the edge of the cliff a few feet away from Shodime's statue giving a good angle of the entire valley of the end. Sasuke opened his eyes to show his Sharingan, staring at Naruto. Sasuke then shunshined in front of Naruto and knocked him down the waterfall. Sasuke then used his chakra and stuck to the waterfall. Naruto fell and made a string of hand signs when he hit the ground. "Sweden. Suiryudan no jutsu," he yelled, and then the biggest water dragon Naruto had ever made, the length of the waterfall, rose out of the river and headed straight for Sasuke. Sasuke had managed to copy the jutsu, but he knew he couldn't use it and dodge the dragon. Sasuke then landed on the water at the base of the waterfall and formed 3 hand signs and the Chidori burst to life. Naruto then held out his hand and the Rasengan swirled into his hand. Naruto and Sasuke then ran at each other, their respective attacks ready to clash. Naruto and Sasuke then moved their hand with their respective jutsus back and thrust them forwards. "Rasengan!" Naruto yelled. "Chidori!" Sasuke yelled. The 2 chakra attacks clashed and then the water beneath swirled around them and burst away showing the river floor below them as they floated in midair from the wind kicked up by their attacks. The chakra backlash was immense and then a huge explosion occurred. "Do you want to go help Naruto now, Kiba?" Gaara asked. Kiba shook his head along with Akamaru. "No," Kiba said in a frightened voice as he saw Naruto and Sasuke fly away from each other from the explosion. Hawk vs. Fox, Clash of the Titans. Naruto flew back a good couple of feet, and Sasuke flew back into the waterfall before the force of the rushing waters forced him down under. "This is really intense," Choji said as he chewed some chips from his bag of barbecue chips. Kiba took some to eat for watching the show. Sasuke climbed back up out of the water and stood back up, panting. Naruto floated up and looked at Sasuke from his laid-down position. "I was at full power when my Chidori clashed with his jutsu, damn you Naruto," Sasuke thought. "Looks like you really want to kill me, eh Sasuke," Naruto thought as he got up. Sasuke then rushed Naruto and cocked his fist back. Since his Sharingan was now complete he could see Naruto's moves before they happened. Naruto was about to block it with his leg, but Sasuke saw that and twisted to the side and crashed his fist into the blonde's face. Naruto groaned in pain. Sasuke then followed up with a punch to the stomach and then a kick sending Naruto back. Naruto's eyes flashed red and then he rushed forwards and made hand signs. Hyoten. Hyoryuendon no Jutsu, Naruto yelled and breathed out an icy cold breath which then formed into a shining winged dragon. The dragon gave a roar, but Sasuke countered by making a few hand signs. Kaden. Karyuendon no Jutsu, Sasuke yelled and the fire dragon flew out of his mouth and the two elements clashed in a battle, but the fire dragon obviously won. Sasuke smirked, but the steam that was made gave Naruto an opening and he punched Sasuke in the stomach. Sasuke gasped as the wind was knocked out of his lungs. Naruto then followed up with a punch to the face, an uppercut to the chin, he then kicked Sasuke higher upwards. Naruto jumped up and caught Sasuke by the ankles and did a few front flips, gaining momentum before he slammed Sasuke's back into the water. Sasuke groaned in pain as Naruto had kicked him away. Sasuke recovered and skidded along the water's surface. "I see you've gotten better, Naruto," Sasuke said as his curse mark released into its first state. The flame marking spreading like a wildfire. Naruto grinned, his electric blue eyes staring back into Sasuke's ruby red ones. "You think I'd come after you without training," Naruto said. Sasuke and Naruto then rushed each other, punches banged against each other and kicks flew as the taijutsu fight dragged on. Naruto then jumped back and then formed some hand signs. "Suiten. Sutepudama, water style, water bullet," Naruto said. Then he fired a number of water projectiles at Sasuke from his mouth. Sasuke then jumped above them and then formed his own number of hand signs. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, Sasuke yelled and the giant ball of fire flew out of Sasuke's mouth, barreling towards Naruto. Naruto gasped as he was hit with the fireball. Sasuke grinned as he looked behind and saw Naruto rise out of the water. Sasuke took this chance to clobber Naruto. Naruto looked up and tried to block Sasuke's kick, after getting out, but Sasuke's Sharingan foresaw that and he then shunshin behind Naruto and punched him on the back of his head. He then jumped and delivered a kick to the fallen boy's back. Naruto screamed in pain and then Sasuke picked up the fallen Namikaze by his hair. An evil smile spread across his face as the dark purple chakra of the curse seal surrounded him. Sasuke then delivered a strong kick to Naruto's temple and then ran at a fast speed to punch Naruto in the stomach. Naruto gasped in pain. Naruto was then caught by his throat and held a few inches off the water. Naruto then splashed into water. Kagebunshin, Sasuke growled. Sasuke was then met with a chakra-enhanced kick to his face sending him crashing into the cliff wall. Naruto then removed Sasuke from the wall and slammed back into it over and over again before kicking him up the wall. Sasuke flipped and stuck to the wall with his chakra and then ran back down the wall. Naruto ran to meet the Uchiha, but Sasuke's Sharingan saw every move Naruto made. Sasuke dodged and countered with every kick and punch Naruto threw at him. Sasuke then kicked Naruto away and tried to punch him, but Naruto jumped back landing on the water surface. Sasuke then formed some hand signs. Kaden. Hausenka no Jutsu, fire style, Phoenix flower jutsu, Sasuke yelled and then blew out a few small fireballs. Naruto jumped above the fireballs, but Sasuke quickly appeared next to Naruto and kicked the blonde in the head sending him downwards crashing onto the water. Sasuke then punched Naruto in the face and then in the stomach. Naruto was being pummeled and his friends which were watching from above could do nothing about it. "I wish we could help him, but knowing him, he wouldn't want us to interfere," Lee said with anime tears dripping down his face. Sasuke then grabbed Naruto by the throat, a Chidori blazing in his hand. Sasuke smiled evilly, but didn't notice the red-orange chakra flowing out of Naruto. Naruto's canines enlarged and his nails became claws. "Looks like you lose now, Naruto," Sasuke said and then he thrust the Chidori forward. Naruto's eyes widened, the Kyabe's eyes replaced his own. The blood flew and Sasuke stood, a Chidori was sticking out of Naruto's chest. Sasuke smiled as he removed the arm. "Looks like you managed to move my arm so I didn't hit your heart, but now you're out an arm and a lung," Sasuke said, "so forget about making hand signs or that chakra jutsu you used in the beginning." He then proceeded to choke the remaining life out of Naruto. Sasuke's arm was suddenly hurting and saw Naruto's hand was crushing it. Sasuke removed his arm and releasing Naruto's grip. Sasuke looked at the blonde and saw red chakra leaking off of him. His eyes widened when he saw the chest wound smoking as it healed in a matter of seconds. "I see that your Biju is helping you now, at least I can fight you at full power," Sasuke said. Naruto then looked at the Uchiha, the blood-red, slitted eyes of the Kyuubi no Kitsune stared deep into Sasuke's three-tomoed Sharingan. Sasuke stared at the Jinchuriki and gasped as the chakra formed a huge image of the Kyuubi no Kitsune behind Naruto, which then encircled around him and gave Naruto the look of a tailless Kitsune. Naruto then gave a roar. The chakra he gave off created a shock wave which kicked up a wave of water headed for Sasuke. The wave blocked Sasuke's vision and Sasuke was met with a lunge to the face followed by a kick to the stomach, and then he was punched upwards and then got an uppercut delivered to his chin, ending with Naruto slamming an axe kick into the Uchiha's face. Sasuke landed on the water's surface due to his water walking technique. He then saw Naruto jump up to deliver a blow. Sasuke then formed some hand signs and blew out a Kaden, Gukakayu no Jutsu at the Jinchuriki. Naruto then took a deep breath and roared, sending out a chakra pulse, completely destroying the fireball while still continuing his descent. Naruto then smashed his elbow into Sasuke's stomach, sending him below the waters of the river. A perfect hole was made as Sasuke went down, like a water tunnel. Naruto then gave a bestial roar to the heavens. The amount of chakra Kyuubi had given him had made his instincts purely primal. Amazing. Naruto's chakra suddenly spiked to a large amount, Kiba said. Neji activated his Byakugan and stared at Naruto. His chakra is the same as when he fought in our battle, except Naruto seems to have no control over his movements. It's as if something else is moving him like an animal. Pure instinct and adrenaline is driving Naruto, Neji said. It's the Kyuubi, Shikamaru said. The others all looked at the boy genius. What do you mean, Shikamaru-san? Lee asked. Shikamaru turned to them. Well, besides you Suna guys, have you all ever noticed how Naruto had been getting glares from the villagers before the Chunin exams? Shikamaru asked. The Konoha nin shook their heads. Shikamaru sighed. Well, I think the signs were obvious. The glares Naruto got, the villagers calling him demon, Kyuubi Gaki, and other things, also the fact that he was the only child born during the Kyuubi's attack 13 years ago, Shikamaru said. The others nodded in understanding. I see. Well, why didn't he tell us? Choji asked. Oh come on Choji, think logically here. Wouldn't you want to keep the fact that you held the most powerful Biju in your stomach with a seal a secret? Shikamaru asked. Choji nodded in understanding before looking back to the fight. He also probably thought we wouldn't be his friends anymore out of fear for Kyuubi, Shikamaru added. Well, after this fight and he kicks Sasuke's ass, we need to tell him that we would always be there for him. Just because he has the Kyuubi doesn't mean we fear him, Kiba said. Hi, his flames of youth are extraordinary, Lee said. He's a hero, Neji said as he watched the fight. Sasuke then burst out of the water and ran at Naruto, but Naruto had run up onto the cliff's wall and delivered a kick. Sasuke saw the kick coming and was able to dodge it and deliver a kick of his own. Naruto then quickly recovered, faster than Sasuke expected, and kicked the Uchiha downwards into the water. Naruto then dived in after Sasuke like a torpedo and then punched Sasuke's face, stomach and back before kicking him upwards into the cliff wall. Naruto then jumped out and crashed into Sasuke, pushing him further back into the cliff's exterior wall. Come home now Sasuke, Naruto growled. Why do you fight so hard for me? He whispered. Naruto blinked. What? He asked. Sasuke kicked Naruto off, who used his chakra to stick to the wall to keep from falling. Why do you fight so hard for me? You never had any family and you were alone from the beginning. Besides, you can't even understand my pain, Sasuke yelled as he crawled out of his crater, sticking to the cliff using chakra. Naruto looked down with a sad look and then looked back up with a sad smile. Actually, I understand more than you think. My father died fighting Kyuubi 2-san when he was brainwashed, and my mother died giving birth to me. Do you know who they are? He asked Sasuke. Sasuke shook his head. My parents were Uzumaki Kushina, the head of the entire Anbu division, and my father was Namikaze Minato, Yondaime Hokage aka Yellow Flash, Naruto said. Sasuke's eyes widened. You lie, your parents could never be such powerful people. You're Adobe and you always will be, Sasuke said. Besides, you didn't answer my question. Well, you can choose to believe it or not, but as for why I fight so hard for you, Naruto paused, his red eyes blinked to prevent tears. Well, you see, when I'm with Iruka-sensei, I see him as an Aniki. When I'm with Ero Sanin, Jiraiya as you may know him, he's like an uncle, Kyuubi is a father, and as for you, when I'm with you like a brother, and that is why I can't let you go to scum like Orochimaru, Naruto said. Well, I guess I'm going to have to sever those bonds, he said, and then took out his Konoha Hitai-8. If Konoha means nothing to you, then why are you putting on the Hitai-8? Naruto asked. I'll admit you're strong, not because of Kyuubi, for you had managed to hold your own against my curse seal level 1, also because you know the pain of being alone. That feeling makes people stronger, and when you make bonds and sever them you become stronger, Sasuke said, tying the Hitai-8 around his forehead and releasing his curse seal. Looks like nothing I say will sway you, isn't that right, Sasuke? Naruto growled. Sasuke just got into a fighting stance and motioned for Naruto to come. Naruto then stepped forward, rushing at god-fast speeds. Naruto then made some Kagebunshins to distract Sasuke. The original held back while the clones attacked. Sasuke blocked all the clones' moves when they attacked and then countered back with kicks and punches of his own. Then when they were destroyed, Naruto had finished his hand signs. Kaiten. Soon no Kitsune, Naruto yelled. Then the earth enveloped Naruto's hands, forming claws where his fingers were. The rocks fell off to reveal the silver shining metal that were the claws. Sasuke looked at Naruto in surprise. What are you? Your friend? Naruto replied and then sped at Sasuke. Sasuke had managed to dodge all of the attacks, but he made the mistake of trying to block it. He took out a kunai, but the metal fox claws cut right through the knife like a knife through butter, and slashed Sasuke's arm, making it bleed. Sasuke jumped back as Naruto swiped at him again and again. Naruto then relinquished his claws and formed more hand signs. Kaiten. Kaneshibaru no Jutsu, Naruto yelled, and then metal chains rose up from the ground and latched onto Sasuke's limbs, immobilizing the young Uchiha. Naruto then formed more hand signs. Hyoten. Tsubame Fubuki no Jutsu, Ice Style, Swallow Attack Jutsu, Naruto yelled. Then the air condensed around him and the small birds of ice were formed and then immediately rammed into Sasuke, cutting him all over his torso. Sasuke grunted in pain as the ice birds sliced at him. Naruto then formed more hand signs. Kaiten. Kaineryuden no Jutsu, Naruto said, and then a large dragon made of metal rose out of the earth and barreled towards Sasuke, kicking up the earth as it smashed into him. Sasuke screamed in pain as the metallic reptile hit his stomach, making him cough up blood, but Naruto didn't stop there. He released his metal bindings and grabbed Sasuke by the collar and then threw him down into the river and landed with a painful splash. Sasuke painfully got up and then watched Naruto dive into the water. Sasuke then got into his family taijutsu stance. Those jutsus, ice and metal, how is he able to do that? It's just not possible for someone to make such jutsu, Sasuke thought as he looked at the large slash mark on his arm from the Sume no Kitsune. Then he heard a bubbling from below. Naruto Kagebunshins popped up and flew at the young Uchiha. Sasuke then flipped and jumped, kicking and punching the Kagebunshins as they came at him from all angles. The only reason he wasn't able to block Naruto's other attacks was due to vision blocking and surprise, but now he could face off against all these Kagebunshins. Well, hard luck, Sasuke. Surprise, surprise. Sasuke killed all the Kagebunshins jumping out at him, but then a pair of hands grabbed his ankles. Sasuke looked down and then Naruto pulled him down. Then a chain of Kagebunshins rose up out of the water, spinning like a blue cyclone, and then with one final spin of momentum the Kagebunshins extended a chain, the original Naruto still holding on to Sasuke's ankles. They then slammed Sasuke with terrible force into the side of a rock formation sticking out of the cliff. Sasuke had coated himself with chakra to reduce the pain and then formed hand signs. Kaiten. Ruka no Jutsu, Sasuke shouted, and then a long stream of fire burned the whole chain of Naruto's. Then Sasuke gasped in surprise and then saw the original Naruto, severely burned. SS Sugoi, Naruto stuttered out from the pain of the molten rock against his skin. Sasuke then threw Naruto off the cliff so that he fell headfirst. It's too late for you now, Naruto. Sasuke yelled and then jumped after the blonde and then caught up with Naruto's body as it descended and then wrapped his arms around Naruto's legs and his legs around the blonde's neck. Then Sasuke blew a fireball out of his mouth to speed their descent and then they crashed into the ground below. Debris flew everywhere when the impact occurred with Naruto's head and the earth. Naruto's eyes were empty and soulless when Sasuke let go of the Jinkriki's body and he fell into the flowing river. Naruto's mindscape Naruto was in his mindscape unconscious and floated up to the surface of the koi fish pond Kyuubi always looked into. Kyuubi gasped when he saw the unconscious Naruto. Naruto, Kit, speak to me, Kyuubi said, but Naruto gave no response. Kyuubi then growled as he got angry at the Uchiha for hurting his Kit. Don't worry, Kit, "We'll beat that Uchiha, just let me give you some more of my chakra," Kyuubi said, the Yukai flaring up as he transferred it into Naruto. Outside Naruto's mindscape, Sasuke had walked up to Naruto's floating body to check to see if he had survived the fall, but then as he got closer, red chakra began to bubble up and surround Naruto. Sasuke was frozen to the spot from the bloodlust generated from Naruto. The bubbles then surrounded more of Naruto's body and lifted him off the water's surface. Then Naruto punched Sasuke in the face, sending the Uchiha flying. The chakra cloak continued to envelope Naruto until it surrounded his entire body. The tail-less Kitsune cloak returned, but then Yukai continued to bubble up, for at Naruto's head 2 long chakra ears grew and at his rear, a chakra tail emerged. The one-tailed Naruto got to all fours, the chakra steaming the water as it came in contact. Dark marks surrounded his eyes and mouth, his canines grew even larger and sharper, his claws too. Sasuke looked at him with awe. "Man, I'm guessing Kyuubi doesn't want to lose," Sasuke said, and then released his curse seal to its first stage again. "Kaden. Hausenka no Jutsu," Sasuke yelled and shot the fire balls at Naruto. Naruto then ran on all fours like a fox and avoided the fireballs and then headed straight for Sasuke. "Kuso, he's coming this way," Sasuke said as he made some more hand signs. "Kaden. Karyuendaan no Jutsu," Sasuke yelled and the fire dragon shot off, but then Naruto formed a ball of blue and white flame in his chakra paw. "FinnuksurenkaFurea no Jutsu," Phoenix spiraling fire flare. Naruto roared and then the ball of fire and the dragon collided, creating an explosion. Sasuke thought the explosion would at least injure Naruto, but his eyes widened when he saw the smoke clear and Naruto was completely unharmed. "Is that cloak protecting him?" he asked himself. Naruto then rushed him and prepared to slash Sasuke, but then as he was running, Sasuke's Sharingan predicted Naruto's next move. Naruto would shunshin behind him. Sasuke ducked and the chakra paw was avoided, but then Sasuke was struck as the chakra cloak's paw removes itself from Naruto's hand and slashed his face. "Chakra branching. This thing is too unpredictable for my Sharingan to see, but I guess if I keep my distance nothing will happen to me," Sasuke said as he went to wipe the blood flowing from his slash mark. Sasuke tried to raise his hand, but he found that he couldn't and his arms were bound. He looked at Naruto and found his arm outstretched. Sasuke looked down at his body cautiously and gasped when he saw the large chakra paw wrapped around his body. Naruto then pulled his arm and Sasuke was dragged towards Naruto, who had then punched Sasuke in his face, but Naruto didn't let go. Instead he threw Sasuke up and performed hand signs. "Kaiten. Soon no Kitsune," Naruto growled, and then the metal claws surround Naruto's paws, making them even more deadly as the Kyuubi's chakra superheated them to extreme levels. Sasuke was in too much pain and he fell. Naruto then jumped up and slashed at Sasuke multiple times and then landed back on his feet as Sasuke fell onto the water. It as though nothing had happened, but then Sasuke's body was splashed in blood as numerous lacerations covered his body along with some second-degree burns. Sasuke slowly got up and then his Sharingan began to spin wildly. Naruto just growled back. Sasuke then ran towards Naruto, but then Naruto grabbed him with his extending arm. The Sume no Kitsune burned Sasuke in Naruto's extreme grip. Naruto then threw Sasuke into the cliff wall with extreme force, creating a crater. Naruto turned when he heard Sasuke's laughing. Naruto gasped when he saw Sasuke's gruesome form as the curse mark took over to its second state. Sasuke's hair grew longer and turned a deep bluish gray, his nails became claws and teeth grew longer to become fangs. His sclera turned pitch black, the Sharingan still its original blood red, then his skin turned clam gray, but then Sasuke groaned as his entire shirt ripped off and 2 wings sprouted from his back that looked grossly like hands. "Look Naruto, you may be special having the Kyuubi, but I'm even more special, the hawk always overcomes the fox," Sasuke declared and then rushed Naruto, purple chakra blazing and Sharingan spinning. Naruto then ran to intercept his rival and then Sasuke punched Naruto in the gut followed by another quick jab with his clawed hand. Then Sasuke kicked Naruto in the chin. Sasuke then jumped up and did a back flip, kicking Naruto in the chin. Sasuke then jumped again after landing and then spun and delivered a kick, sending Naruto soaring. Sasuke then ran up to hit Naruto again, but then felt a high concentration of chakra inside of Naruto. Naruto turned and formed one hand sign and smiled at the Uchiha, showing his sharp teeth. "Kagebunshin Daibukufuru," Naruto said. Sasuke's eyes widened as Naruto exploded in a bright flash of red chakra. Naruto watched hanging from a branch that just happened to be there, by his tail like a monkey. Naruto showed his foxy grin, revealing his sharp teeth. "Got him," he said, but then looked back at the smoke and growled. Sasuke had protected himself with his hand-like wings. Sasuke then opened his wings to show he was unharmed. With the other important people, "Wow, this battle is awesome, the amount of chakra, bloodlust and killer intent those two are releasing is unreal," Kiba said. "Yes, but this just means that the battle will much longer than anticipated," Neji said. Naruto and Sasuke let out an evil laugh that would send chills down your spine and spied Naruto watching him. "See Naruto, this is the power of the curse mark, now I will defeat you once and for all," Sasuke yelled. Naruto then released his hold on the tree branch and then Naruto ran on his two legs instead of all fours and the two then began a clash of ninjutsu as they made nearly endless amounts of hand signs. "Kaden. Karyuendan," Sasuke yelled. "Suiten. Sujinheki no Jutsu," Naruto countered as he summoned the water wall. "Raiden. Reikurai no Jutsu," Naruto yelled and fired the thunderbolt. Sasuke had copied the water wall jutsu and formed his own. Sasuke then smiled as he formed more hand signs. "Suiten. Suiryuden no Jutsu," Sasuke cried. The water dragon then formed from the water wall surrounded by the Reikurai's electricity. Naruto cursed and formed some more hand signs. "Hyoten. Sanryutate no Jutsu," ice style. "Triple dragon shield jutsu," Naruto surged and then the air condensed around him and then three ice dragons formed and protected Naruto from the water dragon. One was destroyed, but the other two survived and then turned on the offensive and attacked Sasuke. Sasuke gasped and then formed hand signs. "Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu," he yelled and the biggest grand fireball ever made blasted out of Sasuke's mouth, melting the ice dragons and continued to barrel towards Naruto. Naruto just stood there as the fireball hit him. Sasuke smiled thinking he'd killed his adversary, but then remembered how the cloak protected Naruto. Then he felt a huge chakra spike. Naruto roared across form Sasuke and then a second tail emerged next to the first. "Kuso, if Naruto has more tails the stronger he gets. I have to end this quickly," Sasuke said, but was slapped in the temple with a chakra tail sending him skipping like a stone across the water. Naruto then quickly appeared in front of Sasuke and then held him by his throat. He then dragged him along the water while punching the Uchiha in his head, then slammed his into the cliff wall dragging him along it until he finally crashed him into the ankle of Madara's giant statue. The smoke cleared as Naruto had his hand on Sasuke's throat, but Sasuke splashed to the ground as a Mizu-bunshin. Sasuke then swooped down from above, purple chakra surrounding his hand. Naruto attempted to hit Sasuke, but failed and Sasuke grabbed the Kitsune boy's collar and threw him into the ankle of the Shadaime stot. However, Naruto had managed to use that close contact and kick Sasuke into the hole he had made in Madara's ankle. The smoke settled as both fighters rose from the smoke and glared at each other, knowing that these would be their final attacks. Sasuke closed his eyes and then snapped them open forming the hand signs and then the sound of 1,000 birds filled the air as the lightning and chakra of the Chidori sprang to life in Sasuke's left hand, but due to the use of the curse seal, the Chidori changed from its usual blue to a dark black and shining white. Naruto found that his entire right hand had gone totally numb and then the chakra swirled into his left hand. The Rasengan came to the world, but the Kyabe's chakra gave it a violet color. The two ninja channeled every bit of chakra they had into those two attacks. The two then jumped from their perches. Sasuke flapped his wings and Naruto twirled his tail in a propeller-like motion, both trying to gain momentum and speed for their attacks. Time seemed to slow down for the two as the attacks clashed and they yelled the names of the techniques. Chidori, 1,000 birds. Rasengan, spiraling chakra sphere. A huge blast of chakra exploded from the clash of these two jutsus and a large sphere of chakra surrounded them so no one could see what was happening from the outside. Inside though the two attacks were still struggling for dominance, but then Sasuke positioned his hand and the Chidori headed straight for Naruto's heart, but Naruto channeled wind chakra into his other hand which had recovered from its numbness and blocked the Chidori, and effectively destroying it. Naruto then saw his opening and then grabbed Sasuke and rammed the Rasengan into his stomach. Sasuke coughed blood and he was blasted away by the orb of raw chakra. The sphere that enveloped them then took on a reddish hue before vanishing in an extremely bright flash of light. The light died down and there lay an unconscious, bleeding, but still living Naruto and Sasuke. Shikamaru and the other immediately raced down to retrieve the two and take them back home. Gaara then created 2 sand beds and rested the 2 ninja onto them. "You did an awesome job, Naruto," Kiba said. "Your flames of youth have shined brighter than anyone else's," Lee said with anime waterfalls flowing from his eyes. "Okay guys, let's go back to Konoha now," Shikamaru said. The ninja, with the unconscious Naruto and Sasuke on the sand beds, then took to the tree and headed for Konoha. Secrets told and training trips. Konoha Hospital. Naruto's eyes fluttered open and looked around to find himself in a white room. Naruto smirked. "Guess I'm dead," Naruto thought. "Oi Dobi," a voice called. Naruto's eyes widened and quickly sat up, but winced in pain. He looked down at himself and found he was covered in so many bandages he looked like a mummy. Naruto looked in the direction of the voice and his eyes widened. "SS Sasuke," Naruto said uncertainly. Sasuke nodded. "You're dead too?" he asked. Sasuke's face faltered and he sweet-dropped. "No you Dobi, Shikamaru and the others brought us back after you hit me with your Rasengan and we both got knocked out," Sasuke said. Naruto nodded and then heard the door open and Tsunade and Shikamaru entered. Tsunade looked and saw the two were awake, and when Naruto was awake she quickly draped him in a bone-brushing hug. "Itai, Itai, Oba, Chan," choking, not breathing, Naruto gasped as he struggled to get air as Tsunade's huge chest choked the life out of him. Tsunade luckily heard him and released him from her grip. Sasuke chuckled at the sight, until Tsunade looked at him. "Sasuke, you know there are consequences for your actions, the most severe would be death, but I can't do that since the council would never allow it. You will be placed under Anbu surveillance at all times and not able to go on missions for 1 month. Tsunade said. Sasuke nodded accepting the terms and then the god I'm left. "Oi, Naruto," Shikamaru said. "Yeah, Shikamaru, Naruto." Shikamaru scratched the back of his head and muttered troublesome. "We were there when you fought Sasuke in the Valley of the End, so we know about Kyuubi, so I just wanted you to know." Naruto became silent and looked down, but then the door opened and the entire Rookie 9 and Team Guy entered. Sakura and Hinata immediately ran to Naruto. "Arigato Naruto ni-san, you brought him back." "Arigato," Sakura said as she gave Naruto a hug and then went to see Sasuke. Hinata gave him a hug also and then a kiss on the lips. "I was so worried about you, I thought I would lose you," Hinata said with tears in her eyes. Naruto used his thumb and wiped away her tears and gave her a hug. "Well, the important thing is that I'm alive, nay Hinata-chan?" Naruto asked with a foxy grin. Hinata sniffled before giving a smile and nodded. "So why are the rest of you here?" Naruto asked, gesturing to the others. "Shikamaru called us together to meet here because he said you had an important secret you have to tell us," Tenten said. Naruto sighed. "Okay, you guys, sit down," Naruto said. Everyone sat on the floor or on some of the chairs provided in most hospital rooms. "Okay, do you guys know about the story of how the Kyuubi no Kitsune was defeated by the Yondaime Hokage?" he asked. Everyone nodded. "Well, that was a lie to cover up the truth," everyone gasped. "A lie?" Tenten asked. Naruto nodded. "You see, the Biju are near invincible beings, therefore they can't be killed, so the Yondaime used a secret kinjutsu, Fuinjutsu, Shiki Fuin. The Yondaime summoned the Shinigami and sealed the soul of the Kyuubi into a baby boy, whose umbilical cord had just been cut, and that child was me. I am the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune," Naruto said. The whole room was silent as they comprehended the words that Naruto had told them. Sakura patted his back to comfort him. Hinata was the first to speak. "Well, if you are that child, Naruto-kun, then you're a hero to all of us," Hinata said with a smile and then kissed his cheek. "Arigato, Hinata-chan," Naruto said with a smile. "And you guys, I understand if you don't like me anymore," Kiba then spoke up. "Yeah right, that just gives me more inspiration to become better than you," he said. Akamaru barked the same thing. "Your flames of youth are even brighter than ever, Naruto-kun. We are honored to be friends of the hero of Konoha," Lee said, giving the nice guy pose. Naruto had tears in his eyes as each of his friends gave their compliments. "Arigato, Mina. Also, I have another thing to tell you," Naruto said as he wiped his tears. "What?" Ino asked. "My parents, I know who they are," Naruto said with a smile. Everyone cheered for the blonde. "So who are they?" Shino asked. "Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, head Anbu captain and Yondaime Hokage," Naruto said proudly. Everyone in the room had their jaws on the floor except Sasuke. Kuso, I'll just have to do some serious training then, Kiba said as he got up. Well, I guess we have to go now, Ino said. Everyone else nodded and got up to leave until all that was left was Team 7. The door then opened a few moments later and Jiraiya entered. Ero Sanin, Naruto exclaimed. Oi, Gaki, I'm here to congratulate you, you brought back your friend, Jiraiya said. Naruto grinned before looking at Jiraiya. And? He asked, knowing Jiraiya had something else to say. I'll be taking you away on a training trip for 3 years. Akatsuki has taken a 3-year pause in their plans when they failed to take Kyuubi from you, so I'll be making you stronger during that time. Tsunade already gave me permission, you'll be leaving the day you get out of this Kami-forsaken hospital. Jiraiya said, and then Kakashi had appeared. Oh, I see, you already told him, Kakashi said, and then looked at Sasuke. Sasuke, the copy Nin called to the Uchiha. Sasuke looked up at the one-eyed man. I'll be taking you as my apprentice, and also before Naruto leaves, when you and Naruto get better, meet with Sakura and I at Training Ground 7 at 10 AM, don't be late, he said, and then poofed away. Jiraiya chuckled and then he left as well. Well, be good you two, I need to see Tsunade-sama for something, Sakura said, and then left the room. Naruto and Sasuke sat there in silence, but then Sasuke broke the silence. Gomen Nasai, Sasuke said. Naruto looked at Sasuke with surprise. I nearly gave up everything all just for power, and I promise I'll never do that again, can you forgive me? Sasuke asked as he prepared for the answer of no. I already have, Naruto said. Sasuke looked at Naruto with wide eyes. You apologized and have taken responsibility for your actions, and for that I forgive you, Naruto said with his foxy grin. Arigato, Naruto, Sasuke said. A few weeks later, Naruto and Sasuke had gotten better and had been released from the hospital and then immediately set off for the training grounds. Sakura and Kakashi were already there when the two arrived. Hey guys, glad to see you all back from that hospital and all better, Kakashi said. Glad to be back, sensei, Naruto said. Sasuke, just want you to know that you're a Chunin rank, and so after Naruto leaves we have to go and get your vest. Also Naruto, Tsunade-sama has had yours remodified, Kakashi told the two. Naruto and Sasuke nodded, giving each other a high five. Okay, so Naruto will be leaving in an hour, so we will be doing a little team spar, you three against me, just like old times, Kakashi said. The three Chunin nodded and then got into fighting stances. Okay, I've set the timer for 1 hour. When the time is up, that means we're done, and now, rules Naruto no Yukai, Sasuke no curse seal, understand, Kakashi commanded. The two nodded and the fight began. The three Chunin attacked their sensei and fired out kicks and punches from all angles, but Kakashi had unveiled his Sharingan and was blocking them all. Sasuke then activated his Sharingan too and then began to form hand signs. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, Sasuke yelled and said. Fireball blasted towards the silver-haired Jonin. Kakashi formed hand signs in a speed faster than the three Chunin had expected. Sweden. Suiryuden no Jutsu, Kakashi yelled, and then a water dragon rose out of the river and countered the fireball, kicking up a large amount of dust. Then Naruto ran through the steam and aimed a punch for Kakashi's head. Kakashi blocked it and then countered with a kick to the stomach, sending the block skidding back a few feet. Sasuke then appeared below the Jonin and kicked him in the chin, sending the Jonin skywards. Sasuke then jumped up and used Kagebunshin. Then Sasuke's feet and fists caught a flame. He then kicked Sasuke in the chest, followed with a burning fist to the Jonin's face and then a final kick to the stomach. Doki no Ryurenden, Sasuke yelled, and the pillar of flame was made, burning Kakashi. The flames died down and all that was left was a burned and charred log. Kawarimi no Jutsu, Sakura exclaimed, but then a pair of hands grabbed her ankles and pulled underneath the earth, and then Kakashi jumped out and only Sakura's head was sticking out. Doden. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Earth Style. Headhunter Jutsu, Kakashi said, but then Sakura disappeared in a poof of smoke. Then he turned and was punched in the face with Sakura's chakra-enhanced fist, but Kakashi turned out to be a Kagebunshin as he disappeared in a poof of smoke. The three Chunin looked around the field for their sensei. Kuso, he's gone, Naruto said. Then he was hit in the back of the head from a kick courtesy of Kakashi. Naruto growled and then his eyes flashed red. Naruto turned and slammed his foot into Kakashi's stomach. Kakashi coughed and then Sasuke came up and punched the Jonin in the face. Sakura jumped up, delivered an axe kick to Kakashi's head, and then Naruto came from behind Kakashi and then shot a powerful spin kick to the Jonin's back, sending him sprawling on the ground. Kakashi quickly got up and saw the 3 Chunin forming hand signs. Suiden. Suiryuden no Jutsu, Naruto yelled. Kaden. Karyuendon no Jutsu, Sasuke yelled. Doden. Hebido no Jutsu, Sakura yelled. The serpents of earth, fire and water then sped towards their sensei. Kakashi's eyes widened as the elemental serpents raced towards him. Kakashi quickly formed hand signs. Doden. Tate no do earth style. Shield of earth, Kakashi said, then 4 walls of earth formed a box around him and blocking the attacks. The earth walls then collapsed and then Naruto formed hand signs. Raiden. Raryuendon no Jutsu, Naruto yelled and the dragon of lightning raced towards Kakashi with a roar. Kakashi jumped over the dragon and quickly blocked a punch to his face from Sasuke and then rolled underneath the Uchiha kicking him in the back, but Sasuke, Sharingan foresaw that and Sasuke blocked the kick and then delivered a kick of his own sending the Jonin into Naruto. Naruto then punched Kakashi into the Sakura who also punched Kakashi in the head. Kakashi somehow bounced back up and then Sakura delivered a series of rapid punches in quick succession and then spun and kicked Kakashi in the head sending him flying. You guys really are stronger than before, Kakashi said panting from the beating he got. Kakashi then formed a few hand signs and his Raikiri came to life. Naruto and Sasuke's eyes widened before they formed their Rasengan and Chidori. Kakashi ran towards the 2 Chunin and then as they grew closer Kakashi stopped his Raikiri and grabbed Naruto's and Sasuke's wrist slamming their attacks into the earth making a huge explosion. Then when the smoke cleared Kakashi was still as he saw Naruto and Sasuke poof into smoke showing they were Kagebunshins. Then Kakashi felt wind and lightning and steel held against his neck. Naruto had his Rasengan, Sasuke his Chidori and Sakura had one of her special seal-infused kunai all then held to Kakashi's throat. Well, at least you put up more of a fight Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said with a smirk and then the 3 Chunin moved away. Sasuke and Naruto dispelled their attacks and Sakura pocketed her kunai. Hey Naruto, I got accepted to be the apprentice of Tsunade-sama, Sakura said excitedly. Congratulations, Sakura-ne-chan, Naruto said. HN, Sasuke said. I'm very proud of you 3, and I am honored to be your sensei, Kakashi said and gave a bow. The 3 Chunin returned the bow and then they all left to gather the Rookie 9 and Team Guy to see Naruto off. Konoha's main gates Naruto was standing next to Jiraiya as he looked at all his friends who came to see him off. Sasuke, make sure you become stronger, I want to fight you when I come back, Naruto started. Sasuke smirked and gave a high five to the blonde. Sakura-ne-chan, have fun with Oba-chan, Sakura nodded with a grin. Shikamaru, you may be lazy, but I know you like the job so just enjoy it while you can. Choji, at least have a balanced diet and try to focus more on your training, Ino, make sure you keep them alive, Ino and the others nodded with a chuckle. Naruto then walked towards Hinata and gave her a kiss. Train hard Hinata-chan and become stronger, Naruto said. Hinata nodded and smiled. Hi Naruto-kun, she replied. Kiba, Shino, keep up the good work, Lee, keep up the taijutsu stuff, I will fight you when I come back after I beat Sasuke. Neji, don't rely on fate so much, intent and have some for diversity to your style, add a little ninjutsu here and there so that you can have the element of surprise, he said. The ninja all nodded. Naruto then walked forward and gave Tsunade a hug. I'll be back, so don't cry Oba-chan, Naruto said. Tsunade returned the hug and wiped the tears that threatened to fall. Shut the hell up Gaki, she said with a motherly smile, now go off and come back stronger than ever. Hi, Tsunade-sama, Naruto said. Tsunade's eyes went wide and then smiled. Well Ero-sanin, let's go, Naruto said. Mateo, Naruto, Shikamaru said. Yeah, Shikamaru, why do you call Jiraiya Ero-sanin and not Ero-senin, he asked. Because, although it's an insult, it still shows respect for him by calling him Sanin and not Senin, Naruto explained. Shikamaru nodded. Naruto then turned and fixed his bag. Okay Ero-sanin, now we go, Naruto said. Okay Gaki, let's go, time to make you stronger than ever, Jiraiya said, and then in the sunset, master and student walked away, to come back in 3 years. Well, see you in 3 years Naruto, the Godai Kitsune Elemental Fox, Sakura whispered. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to let the author know. The link is in the description.